Let me set up a scenario for all of you. You work with a company for years. You've done videos on various games that they publish. You have a great working relationship with them. Said company goes on to announce a gorgeous new game, but the catch? It requires a premium purchase. $40, $60, $100. This is going to be an expensive title, but the fixed price guarantees a certain level of quality and a lack of pay to win. So, to support the company, you purchase the game. How else will you be able to play it? The game goes on to release, you have fun, but it's poorly received. The player base goes into an instant state of decline, and the game hits a point where it begins to show signs of shutting down, which forces the company to do one of two different things: cut their losses and shut the game down, or convert the game to a free-to-play business model. Unfortunately, there's really no winning regardless of what Gameforge choose to do with Swords of Legends Online, but the latter option is definitely going to be a critical blow for those of us that spent $100 on the collector's edition. But hey, my name is STIX and welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here and you're interested in MMO news like this, then I urge you to go ahead at the end of the video, click on the previous news video in this series, and subscribe to stay updated with MMO news like this in the future. Swords of Legends Online was evidently not the breakout hit that Gameforge wanted it to be. As of recording this, there are 400 players logged in playing right now via Steam, which I will note right out of the gate is indicative of a portion of the total players playing the game, as some players have opted to purchase and play the game via Gameforge's official website. Even if we're being generous here, that still leaves this as one of the worst performing MMO releases of the entirety of 2021. It is still outperforming Elion though, so I guess that's kind of something to boast about. Solo ran into a lot of issues: a lack of content at endgame, a controversial performance, or a lack of performance. Running the game at 5 FPS at times was not fun. I think more than anything, this was one of the highest concerns that players had with the game, one that was never directly addressed. All of these issues, of which there were many, trust me, culminated in the ultimate and definitive failure of the game. In an attempt to change the trajectory of the game, or at the very least in an attempt to delay the inevitable, Gameforge have confirmed a complete change of business model. Gameforge announced this via a blog post on their website that also went on to confirm the addition of expansion into Russian and CIS territories and a brand new update titled 2.0, the Firestone Legacy. Now, Swords of Legends Online's 2.0 update is going to go live, according to their website, on the 24th of February. Yeah, I'm not even kidding. That's literally just 2 weeks after Lost Ark launches and a couple days before Guild Wars 2's End of Dragons expansion. Why Gameforge think now is the opportune time to transition to a free business model baffles me, as the direct competition from both of these titles is enough to absolutely destroy any potential this conversion would have had. And that is just based off of its direct competition. Disregarding other MMOs, we still have games like Dying Light 2, Horizon Forbidden West, Elden Ring. Seriously, who is this supposed to appeal to? Did the guy in charge of this just look at the month of February and think to himself, oh yeah, this completely niche MMO will have absolutely no problem competing with any of those games? Like, for real? Now, for those of you that are still watching, you might be thinking to yourself, but STIX, if it goes free to play, what does that mean for pay to win? And do those of us that purchase the game get any type of compensation? And the answer to both of those questions is a little vague. They state in their blog post, all items that you can buy in the game will remain purely cosmetic, as will Battle Pass content. Anyone who's already purchased Solo will receive gifts in the form of insanely pretty, and I quote, insanely pretty items and great bonuses as compensation. Insanely pretty items. Wow, Gameforge, that is oddly specific. My God, you know what? That just sounds like corporate crap to me. There is absolutely no way that Gameforge will be able to maintain the game with purely cosmetic items now that players will no longer be financially supporting them with the premium purchase of the game. I did dig a little deeper though at this juncture, as I was curious if they said anything further pertaining to the transition to a free business model, and it turns out they actually have an FAQ on their forums, something that will largely go unseen. After scrolling down, I noticed that there's an entire section dedicated to the free-to-play announcement. Why this switch in business models? Should we expect more radical changes in the future? Since release, there has been considerable interest in the game. And I mean, I don't want to be that guy, but that is not entirely true. I feel like that is a massive stretch of the truth. But the purchase price is of course a limiting factor for a lot of people. By going free to play, we're opening the gates for everyone to enjoy solo and hope to tackle the concerns about declining player numbers that large parts of the community have voiced. Now, going free to play is not going to change the trajectory of the game. It just isn't. Allion, as an example here, launched as a free-to-play MMO, and its player base literally just up and abandoned it almost as quickly as it launched because the game itself was just bad. Bless Online, which was also a buy-to-play MMO, launched as a free-to-play MMO further down the line as well, and it died equally as fast. Making your game more publicly, more easily accessible to players is not going to change the things about the game that players already dislike. The reason that the mass majority of the players have already left it. But I mean, I guess it will open it up to more toxic players, more abusers, and more pay to win. So that's always fun. What restrictions or limitations will apply to free players? The full game experience will be available to everyone for free. This includes all old, new, and future content like the new classes and zones. At least they're not pulling an Arcade Unchained here and charging players for it. Will the in-game store change? What about the battle passes? We've stressed the importance of a cosmetic-only store since launch and have no plans to change that. Likewise, the battle pass will continue its current model of having a free and premium version featuring purely cosmetic extras on a seasonal basis. And as much as I would love to believe that, I genuinely would. I just can't. Like, I would love to be proven wrong, I genuinely would. But if they don't implement an additional means of return on their investment, this is going to be even more short-lived than their buy-to-play incarnation of it. What about players who purchased the game while it was buy-to-play? To show our appreciation to all of the players who supported us early on, we prepared a bonus package with items. This will be the same for holders of all three editions, as collectors and deluxe edition buyers keep the benefits of their respective editions. And honestly, compensation is probably like an outfit, maybe a mount or something. And you know what? Honestly, I can't even really fault them here. There's nothing that they could realistically offer players that would satisfy them outside of maybe something like a refund. But given how long players have actually been playing this game, giving the option for a refund would be really unfair to Gameforge. Oh, and speaking of, actually, they go on to address this further in their FAQ. I just purchased the game recently and now it's going free to play. Can I get a refund? We will be offering a full refund of the main game to those who purchased the game between the 17th of January 2022 and the announcement, as well as all game access purchased up until the actual Switch. And you know what? Good on you, Gameforge. You guys did not need to do that, but you offered it anyway, so you earned a little bit of respect back from me. And that is all we know about their conversion to a free title. Whether this is going to drastically impact the game remains to be seen, but outside of going free to play, there are going to be a substantial number of additions to the game in the 2.0 update. The highly anticipated Fox Mage class, the Warrior class, a level cap increase, 5 entirely new areas, 5 new dungeons, 2 new raids, 2 new story chapters, new PvP content, not that anyone really engages in PvP anymore anyway, and additional PvE content that has yet to be elaborated on. I'd be lying if I didn't say that I was kind of disappointed. I gave NeoWiz crap for doing this when they released Bless Online as a premium title, then they went and pulled a switch when the game began to decline and offered it completely free, and Gameforge are doing the exact same thing. I'm glad they're offering refunds for players that bought the game in January, but at the same time, if I buy a game like MRSSSTIX did with the $100 edition, I expect it to remain a game that requires that purchase. Otherwise, why don't we all just boycott premium MMOs and wait for them to convert to a free business model? By doing so, we'll save ourselves the money that we would have wasted by purchasing it early and supporting the company. I understand that companies want to milk as much money as they possibly can from us as consumers, but look at games like Lost Ark or the upcoming Blue Protocol MMO. Both are launching as free titles because they believe they provide a product of high enough quality that players will support them via their respective cash shops. They're not releasing as paid titles to try and trick us into spending more money in an attempt to fund this repetitious cycle. It's asinine, and I'm genuinely shocked that GameForge specifically are doing it. Now, honestly, I have never had an issue with GameForge. I've worked with them repeatedly on games like Soul Worker, on Guardians of Ember, Kingdom Under Fire 2, Nos Tale Ion, and even Swords of Legends itself. And they're just the games that are coming off the top of my head when writing this video. But you know what? No company is infallible. I understand why they're doing it. The alternative is completely shutting down. But at the same time, I gotta call out companies when they do things that I do not agree with, even if I genuinely enjoy the relationship I have with them, and even if this means losing the opportunity to work with them in the future ever again. Now, I am genuinely excited to see where this update in specific takes the game, and as Mrs. Stix still actively plays Swords of Legends Online as well, she's even more excited than I am. But I think this is a shady thing to do, and I do not condone converting to a free business model after charging potentially hundreds of thousands of players initially. Now, if you're interested in another game that is not Swords of Legends Online, but has the potential to be arguably one of the biggest releases of 2022, then I urge you to go on over here and click this video. I guarantee that you're going to like what you see.